I wrote down one of my favorite lines in my notes. You smell
You
like
don't like
hot.
me cooking? Just kidding. Say you like me cooking.
I saw you. You like me, lobster.
The lobster.
Clap, clap.
Okay, so this week was my pick.
Yay,
And I
Morgan.
chose, yay. I can't remember what I feel like I was egged on to this at the end of our last conversation. I meant and I'm sure it like followed some kind of logic. I'm sure. But also I do remember at some point either I said or someone else said is like, let's just get weird. And so I chose the Lighthouse. And summary. This is a movie about two light keepers. End of summary.
Yeah.
That's
And the
about it.
hijinks ensue.
Right? I think I was reading somewhere that it was supposed to be like based on like the tragic disappearance of some real life light keeper, but well, in one hand, that is like way too vague to be specifically about like these two men who went missing, because I'm sure a lot of light keepers ended up going missing. But also, could not have possibly been true to their story at all. But so yes, whatever the consequence was, I chose the Lighthouse and we watched it. You're welcome. Anyone have any?
I think we all came through the experience better for it. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No. Before we get started, Sue, you were telling me I was like worse than, or no, sorry, about your feelings on it.
Oh, it was. All I'm saying is that the residual effect of this film left me definitely more. That's it.
Affected.
Than both the Phantom Carriage and the Master combined. And I have to say, I just finished it about a half hour ago, and then I immediately ran to watching my TV show Grimm, which is awful acting, talking about fantasy animal creature characters. And I was like, yes, this is a world I can live in.
You needed a little palate cleanser.
Yes. Oh my God. I was like, I don't know what to do right now. I have to go and reset.
Morgan, how many times did you have to pause it?
Yeah,
you were
that's
watching?
the best.
I did. I watched it in 2 parts, but that was because like I like stopped in the middle of the day. Like I had to go do some tasks, basically. I maybe like twice. And not for very long. Yeah.
That's not bad at all by your standards.
Mm-mm. I don't know why this one did not affect me. Like I've been curious about the Lighthouse for a long time for various reasons, which is why it was on my list, period.
What reasons? Like what brought it on your radar? I'm genuinely curious.
Everyone talks about how weird it is, and like and then there is that whole I don't want to say like a gay vibe or a queer vibe to it, but there is like a whole kind of like queer theory behind it too, which is one of the main reasons it was on my list. But I mean, it was, yeah.
I thought there was some like queer subtext, but like nothing particularly positive.
Nothing compelling.
Yeah.
From my arena. I don't know. Okay, here's the thing that always takes me out of it, and then we have to let someone else talk. I'm done dominating after this. But like every movie where it, like, I don't care. No, okay. I just feel so I couldn't suspend my disbelief, I guess, for this movie. So even like with the non-compelling queerness behind it, for me, it's just like I could not stop thinking about how Robert Pattinson was like gearing up to kiss Willem Dafoe, and I'm like, this is weird. This must have been weird for them. This is just weird. I can't imagine being in that room. But yeah. Anyway, other takes. I'm. This movie was all over the place. I'm all over the place. So I'm curious about anyone else's take.
I came to it totally blind. Like, I didn't know a thing about it. I just had in my mind like artsy film. So from the beginning, I was like, it's so beautiful, like black and white and these images. And then I spent the rest of the time like, wait, is Willem Dafoe gaslighting RP? And then I'm like, wait, does this go the other way? Like, what's real? What's really happening? Are they both alive? Like, just the rest of the time trying to like make sense of it. And then by the end, I was like, I just don't think you can make sense of it. Like, it doesn't. It seems different from The Master, because like in The Master there were like the plot had pieces where you are familiar, I mean, just like, you know, familiar life experience, like traveling, whatever, you could pick up little pieces that made sense. And then in this, there's so much like fantasy or inner thought stuff where you're like, wait, what is real? What is real in this the whole way through? I needed a palate cleanser after I watched it also, but I don't know. It was weird. I wouldn't say I totally hated it, but it was weird.
I feel bad that I didn't need a palate cleanser now. I was just like,
Something is wrong with you, Morgan. No, this was like, I mean, just to clear the air here, like, I did not enjoy the movie. Like, I didn't enjoy the experience, but it's like, this is just not my kind of movie either. You know, this is not the kind of movie that I enjoy. Like, this is a movie made for the purpose of using cinema as an art form. It's not a movie made to tell a great story in a compelling way. Like, this movie seems like it's all about the specific images and the emotions it evokes from the viewer and the symbolism that you know, makes the viewer ask questions. It's because, you know, on the face of it, it's two guys go to this remote lighthouse to man the lighthouse somewhere way off the North Atlantic coast, and are trapped there for a long time, longer than expected, and they go insane. And like, that's the story. It's like, what do you take away from that? What you can, or what you want to, I guess, and you just watch the descent into madness, and it's done in a very artistic way, but it's just not that enjoyable, or at least not for me.
You didn't love like the weird like mermaid sex scene and like
that actually that really that kind of did it for me. Yeah, that was working. It was the rest of the movie that not so much. Yeah.
You know what, the movie, I kept thinking the cinematography is so like wonderful, because it's like every frame, if you just did a screenshot, could be like a black and white photo that you hang up on, like on your walls, you know. Everything was just so crisp and clear and amazing, and I was like, I just wish what I was watching wasn't so awful. But I actually thought that I thought I had it figured out, and I was gonna like pause it and text somebody, but I was so close to the end, I was like, just do it. But when he finally makes it to the light and like he falls, you hear like a crack, like maybe his leg broke, and I'm like, oh my God, he was Willem Dafoe.
Oh, Thomas is Thomas.
Yeah, I wondered at times.
And so then I was like, this is this dude. And then the ending was like, nope.
But then also, was that
Okay.
ending real? Because why was he stripped naked down at the bottom? I mean, it does not necessarily track. I'm with Rachel in that, like, a lot of it too. I was wondering, like, what is real, what is not, and I think pretty early on, I was like, this is not going to be answered. I don't know if it was like from my experience with the master, or like just kind of like how I contemplate media now, where like don't try to look for things that aren't there, but like I wasn't trying to solve it this time.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
like there's a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Rich.
from the beginning interaction between the superior at the lighthouse and the newbie, I thought that's kind of how I framed it. I was like, okay, the boss is going to be a jerk and make the newbie like do all the horrible work, and the newbie's trying to follow all the rules, and he's going to get shit for it. And so I was like trusting the newbie and thinking that the superior was the jerk, the gaslighting guy, and the bad guy. And so that was like how I approached the movie. But then by the end, I just wasn't sure that that was accurate when you learn that there's more to the newbie, more backstory. And then that changed a little bit, where I questioned who to believe.
I have to say, like Rachel, you're saying, at first I'm starting out where I'm like, okay, the narrator and the perspective is the newbie. And so we're like observing this like psycho old guy who's like speaking in like old sailor speak, you know? And by the point where the logbook is revealed, I am genuinely so confused as to who to believe, that I'm like, well, we saw Rob Pattinson like doing all the slave work, right? We saw him working and toiling, but lazy, doesn't work, you know, blah blah. Frequently self-harms in the shack, and I'm like, we did.
Oh, yeah, we did see that.
So once, not frequently.
Well, we know him, but then again, 4 weeks
I'm
goes
just
by
saying.
in like the first 30 minutes, and you're like, okay, so now I don't know. What if Rob Pattinson really is a lazy worker, and like we just saw the few times that he was actually working in the 4 week window, because time flew by so inconsistently. Also, so you have
Well, and also,
inconsistent time, inconsistent narrators, inconsistent storyline, and it's so, yeah. Anyway,
well, the time is inconsistent, not just in like we're not, like it seems like the 4 week period went by quickly, but also there's a point in the movie where one of the characters tells the other character that it's been this many weeks,
Yeah, but
and nothing in the movie has shown us that. Like we have no, as a viewer, we have no idea whether that's true or not.
I mean, I feel like that served a purpose, just to at least in my interpretation, just it really did specifically show that Thomas Wake was a liar. You know, it's that's I mean, I guess it could be taken as like maybe he was being literal, or not literal, maybe he was telling the truth and they did like skip it intentionally, but to me it just helped establish him as someone who's not truthful. He gaslights and he rags on, and like that is a consistent like I think that they were trying to show him as kind of like an abusive superior, and then I feel like that is a kind of a common theme used in that, where, you know, like you frame someone, or, you know, like he wrote him down as a drunk after he talked him down and handed him down after weeks about taking a drink with him, you know. So it's like not truthful records.
That's interesting, because I took the time situation the exact opposite direction. Everything we had been shown up to that point was from Robert Pattinson's perspective, and now all of a sudden we're shown that Robert Pattinson's perspective is unreliable. It's like
manipulated. See, that's my angle.
But you know, we've also been shown Robert Pattinson's hallucinations, his flashbacks. So we've been, you know, we have enough to make us question his reliability, and then I feel like that was just a complete like knock the legs out from under.
See, I didn't take it
both
as
of
like
them really.
like him as I didn't to me it didn't mark him as unreliable as an well I meant not like purposefully unreliable but I mean we talked about like kind of like the decline into madness, so reliable in that sense rather than like from Thomas Wake I see it as manipulation, and from Thomas I can't Winslow, I'm gonna call him Winslow,
Okay,
and from Winslow it's that you're not sure what reality is, you know, from him. It's his first time out on the rock, and it's like known to that kind of isolation is, you know, insanity
it has
inducing.
its effect. Yeah.
Also, but see, I read the time thing where it's like, you know, I've been telling you for weeks that we need a ration, and you know, for all intents and purposes, it was only one day since the storm had started.
Yeah, it seemed
Remember
like
that part? Yeah, and he even says that. Rob Pattinson's character actually even says it's been one day, you know, and the old guy's like freaking out, like, oh, the cod has gone to rot and blah 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 blah. It's been weeks, and I read it. I think similar to Clayton, that we completely lost grasp of time again, because for me the 4 weeks flew by in a really weird way, where they have dinner and Tommy Winslow is like, I'd like you to call me by my name, you know, for the last 2 weeks. And I was like, what? It's been 2 weeks already? But when that conversation happened with the whole, like, it's been weeks and I've been telling you we need a ration, I believed him. Like, I was just like, oh shit, no wonder they're really going psycho.
I like how divided we are.
I know. I was
totally team Willem Dafoe here.
There were some moments where I trusted Tom, the Willem Dafoe Thomas, when he seemed to be like tenderly caring for the super drunk Winslow. Then those were moments where I was like, okay, so he seemed like he's trying to calm him or listen to what he's saying. He seems kind of in control, even though I think they're both super drunk. So there were moments where I trusted him, but it was never when there was like disagreement about what happened. Like I always thought he was manipulating when he would claim truth.
Yeah. I'm with you, Rachel.
Yeah, that's our team.
Manipulating, except for when he was drunk.
Team abuse of power. I will say that also I'm not necessarily team Lil Tommy either.
Our Pats.
Like, even though I think that he was heavily manipulated and lighted. But like he is definitely a murderer. Times 2, I guess. Assuming that whole last section was real. Because who knows?
Well, so yeah, I was gonna say, so there's like a very clear point where I feel like it goes from kind of psychological, what's going on, to like, this shit is off the rails and now we're all fucked up. And I am just like, do we believe any of what happened in like the last third of the movie? Like, what actually happened then out there?
I wonder what like your clear delineation is, because if I remember correctly, like the whole the first time you see a tentacle was still pretty early on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was like definitely the first third of the movie.
Yeah. And then there's also like even when he like first gets to the island and he pulls that mermaid out of the hole in the mattress. Like first he pulls off some clumps of human hair. You know how it is.
Wait, is that what that was?
That's what it looked like to me.
Thought. I was like,
oh really?
Gross.
Oh yeah, gross. Yeah.
I'm making up a fake delineation, but like once the inside of the lighthouse is all a mess and like flooded and weird, that for me,
just that disaster mess, flooded lighthouse, like that was just painful.
The fact that their home was destroyed.
Yeah, just
that for me, that was like, is this real? Because they're so like ordered, and he makes a big deal about keeping the space tidy. And I know there's supposed to have been a storm, but that for me was like, it made it seem like everything was falling apart, maybe mental state, physical state, like it was, everything was a mess. And that the flood and stuff in their lighthouse, I couldn't tell if that was real. So I was trying to draw a line with like, things seemed, well, maybe it was just like those first 4 weeks when everything is as planned, their lighthouse looks normal, and then when things go off the rails, the lighthouse does not look normal.
It's like the lighthouse is a physical representation of their mental states.
Or
That's probably a
one
little
person.
oversimplified, but yeah, maybe.
Well, I felt like it was starting to fall apart as soon as he killed that seagull. Because he kills the seagull, then he sees the mermaid, then he sees the dead head in the box or something, or whatever, the lobster trap. And then it just gets worse and worse from that point on.
You know what? Maybe actually what happened is because they were drinking contaminated water the whole time, they were just crazy from the first sip. Maybe that's the actual explanation.
Never drank water. So that theory does not apply.
No, I was thinking about that, but he'd have to or he'd be dead.
No. Alcohol also is liquid. And then there's rain to like put moisture back in the body.
Drink the rain.
You know.
I'm just saying 6 weeks on alcohol and no water.
I have 2 questions about what hours are their duties for the lighthouse, and like, did they actually keep the lighthouse running during this crazy time? Because when they would have dinner together, I was like, wait, isn't that when you should be
prime
running
lighthouse time?
Yeah, I always was.
It's night to light, so I think they would have dinner, and then Willem Dafoe would go up.
That would make sense.
And that's why Willem Dafoe sleeps during the day, and Rob Pattinson was gonna. Monkey pump. That's what I was trying to remember. Monkey pump when they were drinking turpentine.
I did not.
Mixing the honey. Yeah, man. This is the second.
Yeah, very
homemade alcohol. Yeah,
it's exactly what I was thinking when that happened.
Yeah, I tell you what, none of these movies with this sort of homemade fuel oil alcohol make it look appealing. I'll say that.
Yeah, it seems like maybe it's a bad idea to drink.
Yeah.
That. Maybe.
That's basically, these 2 movies are The Master and The Lighthouse. Basically, they're just PSAs against homemade alcohol. I think we've
the Phantom Carriage.
Yeah. We figured it all out.
Basically, we're subliminally trying to not even subliminally, just outright trying to tell people, don't make alcohol at home. We should screen all of these at one venue. And
we're an anti-moonshine establishment here.
That's right. We are. Anti-alcohol in general, I think.
Yes.
Oh, one thing I wanted to note about this, it's not super critical, but I didn't think that Arpats did a great job with his dialect. Like I heard
it was very coached, so it must have been what the director wanted.
Yeah, so the director, it's kind of interesting. So the director, and again, like, this dude is like anal about his details. I'm genuinely fascinated by this guy, and I as out of character and incongruous as it is, like, I want to watch his first movie.
The Witch?
Yeah.
Excuse me, The Witch?
The Vivitch.
The Vivitch.
Glad that tickled you, Clayton.
He's derailed by the Vivitch.
No, I'm curious about it too. I told Olivia, I was like, I don't know if I want to watch the first one. I don't know if I want to watch it after this.
I'm so intrigued, and it's absolutely 110% not my kind of movie. But just reading about it and reading about this director and about his detail when he was making the witch, like all of the so the witch, for if you haven't read about it, or it's about a like a 1600s Puritan family in pre-colonial Massachusetts. I guess it would be colonial Massachusetts, but like, very, very early in the settling of Massachusetts. And
Glad we got that established.
I like details. Anyway, so they for the movie, they built like the house and the barn that this movie family live in. They built them all by hand. Like they used
Sorry.
Sorry. I'm listening.
Well, I was just going to say that this is nothing related to the plot or anything, but in the making of the movie, like he constructed buildings using original construction methods and original materials, and he really tried to get like all hand woven fabric for the clothes, and I mean just going to that level of detail for visual realism.
Now that we've had our rousing discussion, aired
about
out
how
some
much
grievances,
we love the Lighthouse,
tell me if you would select this for the film festival.
No.
why not?
I think I would for X. Sue, back to you. Why not?
Oh,
You're right.
Just take a no.
I don't know. This one is like, okay, this movie is right on that brink of like Synecdoche, New York, where I'm just like, no, it's too hard to glean any true meaning behind this film. And I'm not saying that there isn't, and I certainly haven't done the research for it. I'm just saying that for the lay person who doesn't seek out art house films constantly and like try to appreciate a film like this, I think that it is raunchy and like weird, and in a way that's
You say
not
that in
really
a
thought
bad
provoking.
way.
No, I mean raunchy and weird in the bad way. Not in the good way, not the kind that we like. But I really do think that this is just unapproachable. Just like a smidge unapproachable.
I have. Oh, sorry.
No, that's it.
My great idea would be we play this unapproachable movie followed by Twilight. So that, just kidding.
Palette cleanser for Rob.
Yeah, just an entire Our Pets retrospective.
So does that mean
Yeah.
you're a yes?
Yeah, would you screen
Or
this one?
screening the movie. I would not. In very much like what Sue was saying, but my take would be that this was such a distinctly unenjoyable experience for me, that I don't want to share this with people. Like I don't want to inflict this on other people,
I care
So
about our audience.
I don't want to
so
subject
no.
people to it. And again, it's like, I'm not saying that this is a bad movie. Like, I feel like this is a very well-made movie, and like all the technical parts were there, but it had no heart, sort of thing. And for me, the heart of a movie is a good story that moves me, affects me somehow. And this just didn't. Like this is just not my cup of tea.
So I gotta say, I'm a little surprised, because to me, the connection is the relationship between the two of them, and the confusion and like the inability to put like it to words is also the point. So actually, I felt a lot more. Maybe this is one reason too why I was so much more. I found it easier to kind of like shrug it off too, where like it was like I had permission to, no, maybe I did give myself permission to not get it, because I do think it is like different examples of human cruelty, and I was like, that is not necessarily something I want to sit on. Whereas like with movies like The Master, where it's just like, you're a fool if you don't see my vision kind of thing, where this one is just like, it's avant-garde and out there, and we're just all okay with that. basically.
Yeah, like everybody takes away from it what they get out of it, and that's
Yeah.
perfectly fine.
Full disclosure,
Yeah.
I would not want to screen this at the film festival, so I'm not like trying to come to its
Arguing
defense.
Yeah.
I will say, like, my one word, not review of this movie, but like feeling from this movie, it was like, it was menacing. And that was the
ominous.
whole vibe of it.
Yeah.
Where like
Mhm.
sometimes like it's like tense or thrilling. This was just like menacing.
That's
It was the sound. Like the music, you know how the music at all times was like way too intense for what was going on screen.
Mhm.
Like this is, chainsaw murderer is about to pop up behind you music, like at all times in the movie. It's just a wall, it's like a cacophonous wall of sound, just relentlessly blasting you with sound. I mean, it's the
Like a
storm, it's the
foghorn.
wave, it's the foghorn. Yeah, it's not, I mean, the music is part of that, but it wasn't
Mhm.
just the music.
He
I was like, oh,
screams.
yeah, that's-
He screams in the light, which was like part distortion, part like foghorn. I was just like, God damn.
It was awful.
that's
Mhm.
yeah.
Well done. See, maybe that's why. Just like this technical stuff, neat. Good job, guys. And that's my enjoyment of the movie.
I think we can just sum it up like that. Just wrap it up like, well done, everybody. I'm
No,
never
thank
watching
you.
that again.
Hey, thanks for watching. That was our discussion on the Lighthouse. Join us next week for something hopefully completely different.
Boop, boop.
The end.